Hi. My brother's post-adolescence friends were all drug addicts or prostitutes. Although he swore they were friends, nevertheless, each eventually faded to memory, making an occasional call to me, expressing their dire concern for his welfare, worrying my parents, and pissing me off. I'd suggest that they call him or write a note telling him how much they care and making their recommendations. Be in his life instead of showing up and screaming fire. We smelled the smoke. We were burning with him. This story is about Nikki, who lived in a tiny basement flat in Brooklyn with 10 relatives. They slept on ottomans and chairs, piles of blankets, and on one another. Nikki was slight but muscular, and he had done hard time. Tough but cheerful and trying to adhere to the straight and narrow, he was off of heroin and the only of my brother's Latter-day friends that I sort of trusted. He managed a small, bustling chicken joint in Brooklyn Heights where he wore a tight, short-sleeved white shirt and a black bow tie. His thinning hair was slicked back, and he sported a scruffy goatee and deep-set, jet black eyes. I had asked what Nikki had been in prison for and was told, "I don't want to tell you." I found my brother's shame by association an impressive devotion and left it alone. I was sure that Nikki's travels through society's underbelly had necessitated some difficult choices. Surely he had stolen. Maybe he had killed. He, like all my big brother's friends, treated me with a protective tenderness, and I felt a careful affection for them. Well, my wedding would be on that September Saturday, and I needed to tell my brother that he was not the best man. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I decided that my friend Jay would stand with me, the guy who had been with me through it all, my other brother. On the Wednesday before the wedding, I called to speak to Kim, whose platonic date for the wedding was to be Nikki. Mom told me that Nikki had died that morning. Complications from AIDS. My brother, Kim, got on the phone but could not talk. I went over, sat on his bed, rubbed his back, and together we cried. 2 days later, I drove my mother and Kim to his best friend's wake. 2 of Nikki's 4 remaining brothers were there, as were aunts and neighbors. Kim childishly introduced our mom to every one of the motley crew and seemed to enjoy the commingling of his 2 families. In a sitting room, we connected with one of Nikki's aunts, with whom Kim had a sweet rapport. Mom and I listened to their curious connection, and the woman kept Mom engaged. She said Nikki's family was a good one, and that regardless of losing their ways here on earth, they would be welcomed with open arms when they got to heaven. She then said that she was so glad that Kim had accepted Jesus as his Lord and Savior, to which our Jewish mother stiffened up, grabbed my thigh just over the knee, and nearly punctured my flesh with an alarming squeeze. Mom giggled nervously and said, "Oh, he's into all kinds of things." After that, a new grade of remorse set in and would remain intact for the rest of my brother's days. In the weeks following Nikki's death, I asked again why Nikki had been in prison. Kim said that among many other charges, Nikki had been found guilty of sexually assaulting his school-age daughter. Years later, I'm still upset by the news of this particular transgression. I want it to be untrue. Thank you very much for listening.